Today we're solving our system of equations by elimination. We've already done graphing and substitution. So now this is just a third way to be able to solve a system. All right, so the steps, what we're gonna wanna make sure to do first is that both equations are in standard form. Oh, bless you. Oh, okay. Then after that, we need to make sure that both of the coefficients for x or y are the same but with opposite sign. We're going to add the two equations, solve for the first variable, substitute that first variable back in to find the second variable. Then we write the solution as an ordered pair and we check our work. So kind of similar to what we've been doing, just the first variable we are going to solve a different way. Okay, so again, we need to solve the equation, identify the solution, and then verify the solution algebraically. 3 steps I need to see in your work, okay? All right, so I wrote out the steps for the first example, and then after that, we're going to I'm not going to write them out anymore. Okay, so our first original equation is negative 4x minus 2y is equal to 12. And the second original equation is 4x plus 8y is equal to negative 24. I'm going to check, are both of my equations written in standard form? That is ax plus by is equal to c. That means that the x's and the y's are on one side, and then the constant is on the other. And I'm going to look. Yes, that one is written in standard form. This one is written in standard form. I'm also going to check to make sure that the equal sign is in the same place, because if it's not, then we're gonna have problems. Okay. So step 1, I'm just going to put a check. It's ready to go. I'm going to look at both the x's and the y's. So first, the x's. So vertically, I'm going to look, are the coefficients, which means the multipliers in front of x, are they the same number but opposite signs? So we have in the yellow -4 and in the purple +4. Those are the opposites. Opposites mean positive, negative, so same number, opposite signs. So that the x's, one is 4x and the other is -4x. The y's are -2y and 8y, so different numbers, but they are opposite signs. Okay, so those don't meet our requirement for step number 2. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take my original equations and add them together vertically. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down. This is how we do this work. We write down the original equation, 4x minus 2y is equal to -12, and 4x plus 8y is equal to -24. I go ahead and put a big equal sign, and I'm going to add vertically. So I'm going to add my x's, then my y's, then my constants. So 4x, -4x plus 4x is 0x. -2y plus 8y is positive 6y. I bring down my equal sign. -24 minus 12 is -36. So I'm going more negative. My 0x goes away. So then step number 4, I'm going to go ahead and use this equation to solve for the first variable. So I do 6y is equal to -36. I'm going to go ahead and divide by 6 is equal to -6. The goal, one variable will be eliminated or go to 0. Like 0x or 0y. Okay, so the goal is to get one variable in our equation. All right, so that's our first part of our ordered pair. Now we're going to solve for the second. So step number 5, we're going to solve for the second variable. We need to go back and find one of the first equations. So your choice. You can either choose equation 1 or equation 2. I'm going to go ahead and take equation 2 because it has a lot more positive signs. So 4x plus 8y is equal to negative 24. So 4x plus 8y is equal to negative 24. And remember, we're substituting in negative 6 for y. So 4x plus 8 times negative 6 is equal to negative 24. And that gives me 4x, a positive times a negative, is a negative times 48, or minus 48 equals negative 24. Add 48. Ooh, I'm gonna run out of room here. That goes to 0. So bring down the 4x is equal to positive 24. I'm going to go ahead and write this on the side. So 4x is equal to 24 over, now I'm going to get the value for 1x, so I'm going to divide by 4, is equal to 6. That's my second part. Okay, so the solution, I want to see the solution as an ordered pair in your work. So as an x comma y, and it's going to be 6 comma negative 6. Be very careful that you write the y second and the x first. All right, so the last part of our work is to check. So I need my original equations. I remember negative 4x minus 2y is equal to negative 12, and 4x plus 8y is equal to negative 24. It's going to be gigantic. All right, so we're substituting in 6 and negative 6. So negative 4 times 6 minus 2 times negative 6 is equal to negative 12. Negative 4 times 6 is negative 24. Negative 2 times negative 6 is positive 12 is equal to negative 12. So negative 24 plus 12 is negative 12. That verifies. So that ordered pair works. Again, if it doesn't verify, you have to go back and do the problem again. All right, so here we go. 4 times 6 plus 8 times negative 6 equals negative 24. So I get 4 times 6 is 24 minus 48 is equal to negative 24. So 24 minus 48 is negative 24. So again, verifies. So what does that mean? 6, negative 6 is my solution. Okay. So now without all the steps written out, we're just going to say them verbally. Okay. We're going to go ahead and let's use green. We're going to check, are both equations, equation 1 and equation 2, written in standard form? So x's and y's on one side and the constant on the other. Yes. Step 1 is check. Step 2, do one of the variables, x or y, have the same multiplier, opposite signs? So again, we're going to check the x's, the y's. We don't check the constants. So it looks like the y's here, I have a negative y and a positive y. So when I add those together, that's going to make a 0. Okay, so step 3. We're going to add these together. This is step 3. So I get 1x plus 2y. It gives me 3y. Minus 1y plus 1y gives me 0y. And then 11 plus 19 gives me not 20, but 30. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite this. This is 3x is equal to 30. This time we eliminated y so that we can solve for our x first. I'm going to divide by 3 to get 1x, and that gives me 10. All right, that's my first variable. Oh wait, this was step 4, solving for the first variable. Step number 5 is to use that x equals 10 into one of the equations. I noticed that the first equation, it doesn't really matter which equation you use, but I'm going to use the top one. So x minus y is equal to 11. It just seems a little simpler. Okay. I'm going to plug the 10 in for x. So 10 minus y is equal to 11. Go ahead and subtract 10 from both sides, giving us negative y is equal to 1. Even though y is isolated, it needs to be a positive y. So, oh, that's crazy. Okay, so we're going to divide by negative 1 on both sides. So negative 1 divided by negative 1 is 1. And 1 divided by negative 1 is negative 1. So this is my second part. I'm going to put a line so I can keep my work neat. Step 6 is my ordered pair. So the solution is 10 comma negative 1. And then step number 7 is to check. We write both originals. So x minus y is equal to 11. And 2x plus y is equal to 19. We're substituting in 10 for x and negative 1 for y. So I get 10 minus negative 1 is equal to 1. Sorry, 11. Negative times a negative gives me a positive, so 10 plus 1 is equal to 11. 11 is equal to 11. Remember, the 11 was from the original. All right, so that verifies. Go ahead and move on to the next one. We have 2 times 10 plus negative 1 is equal to 19. I like to put my negatives in parentheses so I don't forget about them. Okay. Multiply first, so 20 minus 1 is equal to 19. 20 minus 1 is 19. Does that equal 19? Booyah. We have the solution. Our solution is 10, negative 1. All right, example number 3. Checking for our form first. Okay, our x's are lined up. Our y's are lined up. Our constant are lined up. And then also the equal signs are lined up. Okay, so step number 2 is one of the equations equal, the coefficients of one of the equations equal the same but opposite signs. So I see for the x's, I'm going to go ahead and focus on the x's, that they are the same, negative 4x and negative 4x, but one of them needs to be a negative sign, and one of them needs to be a positive sign. So what I'm allowed to do is, by any equation, I can multiply by any number I want. And since I want to make this sign right here a positive, I'm going to multiply by negative 1. So that gives me, I'm going to distribute. Make sure you distribute to all pieces. Positive 4x plus 9y is equal to positive 23. The top is going to stay the same as negative 4x minus 9y is equal to negative 25. Think about us multiplying the top by 1 by itself. Okay, so that is we've done step 1 to check the form. Step 2 was to make sure that the signs were the same but opposite. Sorry, that the coefficients were the same but opposite. Now we can work on step number 3. We're going to add. So I'm going to add the top equation to the bottom. So negative 4x plus 4x gives me 0x. Negative 9y plus 9y gives me 0y. And negative 25 plus 23 gives me negative 2. So I essentially get 0 is equal to negative 2. Notice all variables are eliminated, which remember means 0x or 0y. And does the statement make true? Does the statement stay true? So does 0 equal negative 2? No. The statement is not true. So what kind of solution do I have? I have no solution. These lines are parallel. Okay? No solution. The lines are parallel. All right. Moving on. So very similar to substitution method. If the statement stays true, then then we have infinite solutions. If it doesn't stay true, then we have no solution. All right, last example for today. And then next week, we're going to step it up again. It's kind of like we did for substitution method. Okay, so step 1. Are the equations in the right form? So I'm going to check. I have my x's lined up plus my y's and my constants on one side. They are lined up, same order. My equal sign is in the same place. We're good to go. Okay, next. Are the coefficients the same number, opposite signs? So I'm going to check my x's. I have an 8 and a -3. Those are not the same numbers, so let's go ahead and move on to my y's. All right, y is 1y and 1y. Same number, but now I need it to be opposite signs. So I'm going to go ahead and take my top equation this time and multiply by -1. You could take the bottom equation if you want, and that's okay. Okay, so -1 times 8 gives me -8x. -1 times y gives me -y. -1 times -16 gives me +16. The bottom equation, I'm multiplying by +1, so I want to keep it the same. That's going to give me -3x plus y is equal to -5. Exactly what I had before. Distribute. Okay. That is step number 2. Opposite, but same coefficient with opposite signs. So we call those opposites. Okay, step number 3. We add vertically. So -8x plus -3x gives me -11x. -y plus y gives me 0y. I wrote that arrow weird. Okay. And then 16 plus -5 gives me 11. Step 4, solve for the variable. So I have -11x is equal to 11. Divide by -11 to give me +1x. My +1x is equal to 11 divided by -11 is -1. That's your first variable. Second variable. Choose your equation. I'm going to choose, I don't know, the numbers look smaller in the second equation, so I'm going to choose that one. -3x plus y is equal to -5. So we substitute it in for x, but make sure you put it in parentheses. So -3 times -1 plus y is equal to -5. -3 times -1 gives me +3 plus y is equal to -5. We will add, just kidding, that is a +3, so we're going to subtract 3 from both sides, giving us -8. All right, so that is our second variable. So put my line for neatness. Step number 6 would be the solution, which is -1, -8. Step 7 is our check. Write both equations. And -3 original equations. We always want to use those originals. Just in case we rearranged incorrectly or something, we can go back and verify from the beginning. Okay, so I get 8 times -1 plus -8 is equal to -16. That's my x and my y. So I have -8 minus 8 is equal to -16. -6. So -8 minus 8 gives me -16 is equal to -16. Woo! We're halfway. Okay, next one. We get -3 times -1 plus -8 is equal to -5. So -3 times -1 gives me +3. Plus -8 is really a -8 equals -5. And then 3 minus 8 is, I'm starting 3 above and going 8 below, gives me, I'm going to end up on -5. Okay, again, verify. So that means that this equation here is this, or -1, -8 is our solution. that's it for this week. If you have any questions, you're going to let me know. I will see you in office hours if I need to. Go ahead and start checking your grades and make sure that you are resubmitting your work and getting everything in that is on the slides. Okay, cool. Bye.